Hello, my dear friends and colleagues. Hope you are all doing well. So, today I am back with a new topic, that is ectopic pregnancy. It is the pregnancy which is outside the uterine cavity, as everyone knows. It can be in the cervix, in the uterus, it can be interstitial pregnancy, corneal pregnancy, cervical cesarean scar pregnancy, abdominal pregnancy. In this discussion, we are mainly going to focus about tubal ectopic pregnancy. The incidence is 11 per 1000 women and the risk of maternal mortality is 0.2 per 1000. So, what are the symptoms and signs of ectopic pregnancy? The most common symptoms are vaginal bleeding with or without passage of clots, abdominal or pelvic pain, amenorrhea or missed period. These are the common symptoms. The rare symptoms are either fainting, dizziness, syncope, or shoulder tip pain or abdominal distension. Then the patient can complain with the breast engorgement also. There are few signs which are very much suggestive of ectopic pregnancy, like pallor, tachycardia, rise in the heart rate of more than 100 beats per minute, hypotension, less than 100 by 60 millimeters of mercury blood pressure, abdominal distension, uterine enlargement, abdominal tenderness, pelvic tenderness. Per vaginal examination will show cervical motion tenderness, adnexal tenderness. Now, how are we going to diagnose ectopic pregnancy? By the signs and symptoms, of course, plus ultrasound. So, transvaginal ultrasound is the gold standard for the diagnosis of ectopic pregnancy. There are certain features which suggest that there is 100% sure the diagnosis is ectopic pregnancy. These are the presence of adnexal mass which is moving separate to the ovary. This is known as sliding sign, with presence of a gestational sac and a yolk sac, or a adnexal mass which is moving separate to the ovary, that is sliding sign positive, with a gestational sac or with a fetal pole with or without cardiac activity. Now let us come to other signs which show high probability of ectopic pregnancy. That is a adnexal mass which is moving separate to the ovary with a gestational sac which is empty, that is known as a tubal ring sign or a Bagel sign, or an inhomogeneous complex mass in the adnexa. Now there are few features which will show that there is a possibility of ectopic pregnancy. This includes absence of intrauterine gestational sac. Second, presence of a pseudosac, which is a fluid filled collection in the endometrial cavity. So how we will distinguish it from a true gestational sac? So the true gestational sac is an eccentrically located sac and is surrounded by a double echogenic lining, that is known as a double decidual sign, that is positive, and it is not present in the center like the pseudosac, and the margins of the gestational sac are regular. And moderate to severe amount of fluid should be taken into account for diagnosis of ectopic pregnancy, not the mild amount of fluid. Now consider the treatment. There are three lines of treatment. One is the expectant management, second medical management, and third is surgical management. Expectant management is done for asymptomatic women where the adnexal mass is less than 35 millimeters, there is no cardiac activity, she is ready for coming to the follow-up, there are no symptoms at all, and the beta HCG is less than 1000 international units per liter. In this, we will do the beta HCG at 0 to 4 and 7 days, and there should be a fall in beta HCG by more than 15%. If the fall is not by more than 15%, we have to reassess her. Maybe we have to do an ultrasound or counsel her regarding other methods. Now let us see the second method, that is a medical management. It consists of methotrexate, intramuscular injection 50 milligrams per meter square body surface area. It has to be given when the lady is asymptomatic or she is having pain, but this pain is mild. It is not a significant pain. The beta HCG is 1500 or less. The adnexal mass is less than 35 millimeters. There is no cardiac activity. she is ready for follow-up, and there is no intrauterine pregnancy. In this, we will monitor the beta HCG on day 4 and day 7. Again, there should be a fall by more than 15%, and if it is falling, then we have to monitor weekly till it is less than 20 international units per ml or negligible. The third line of management is surgical management. It can be done laparoscopically or laparotomy. A laparotomy is done if the woman is hemodynamically unstable. Otherwise, laparoscopy is the best treatment. In this, we have to do either salpingectomy or salpingotomy. Salpingotomy is done if there are issues regarding infertility, or if there is previous tubal surgery, or if the contralateral tube is damaged. In this, if a salpingectomy is done, we have to do a urine pregnancy test after 3 weeks. If a salpingotomy is done, we have to do beta HCG every week for 3 weeks, or until it is negative. We have to follow by weekly testing till it is less than 15 international units per liter or negligible. Now coming to anti-D, we have to give anti-D 250 international units intramuscular to all ladies who are Rh negative and non-sensitized pregnant ladies. All cases of ectopic pregnancy, we have to give it intramuscular. This is all about the management of tubal ectopic pregnancy. If you like the content of this video, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel and share with your friends and relatives. Thank you.